Simple and clean for Africa Freaks Fatal in our previous game, and now we move on into our next match on Erangel. Welcome back to the analysis desk here, the command center of the Face It Global Summit. And my captains along the way, I have Toffees and I have Avenger. Gentlemen, what a way to start the tournament. I think it doesn't go without saying that we had an amazing start to the games here when it comes to the rotations, the finish, the energy throughout that game on every single facet of opportunity.
It's a big start because it was an exciting start, lots of good fights, players like Nookie doing some crazy things. But it's also an interesting start because it's almost like a false start, right? It's like a weird circle that's sort of off of the average. So the teams kind of have to reset their heads and start with game 2, where they'll probably expect a northern circle that they can adjust to.
I mean, need we even say that at the beginning of the game, we saw some abnormalities, like Cloud9 going down to, military base to have a little bit of extra different loot. You guys are kind of, remember all at the very beginning even starts with a few more strange moments.
I really love the start because we saw Tempo Storm push on Liquid, and then an EU team jumped in to help their fellow EU team, joking around here, but joining them, then Windstrike getting a lot of kills, and Tempo Storm actually went out very early here, and then Cloud9 kind of joined that fight and shot a lot on Windstrike, and then 4AM crossed the bridge. Like, they were thinking they were going to bridge camp, but all the teams are already crossed and all the fights were already going on. There was already 15 players fighting there on the southern side, and they joined in and actually managed to get a few kills, finish off a few players, and get a pretty decent rotation into the circle. So very interesting start to the game, very rough for some teams.
Well, let's take a flashback to what was potentially came the River Styx in that moment, because we had an insane amount of teams fighting over there. I believe it was it 4 teams? Five teams ultimately fighting. Yeah. And 4AM almost became sort of like this Charon character as they came in. They looked down upon everyone below them as they were fighting. And Tempo had an okay spot until 4AM found them. And then C9 kind of had an okay spot until 4AM spotted them. And then from there, it just became a crazy 5-way massacre. And third parties are, we see them. Fourth parties are rare, but having a fifth party from a high ground position, who, by the way, I thought 4AM was in trouble because they were stuck on the wrong side of the bridge. Had that not started, 4AM would have just been massacred by all of the bridge campers. But the thirsty nature of our camping team let 4AM cross and rack up some points.
Let's take a look at the points that all of these teams have accrued here from our first game, of course, as we do have Africa Freaks Fatal up towards the top. And this is actually, just in general, the standings of the tournament right now as they do stand, because we've only had one game. So Africa Freaks Fatal, and we have Team Envy up there as well. OP Gaming Rangers, I really enjoyed the position that they took up on the hills just north of military base. They knew very, very clearly, Avenger, they knew that a lot of teams had the potential of trying to come from that angle. They had 3 almost in a line cordoning off that area, and 1 a bit further up, Temeria, up there, just to be able to hold a compound.
I really love the way they kind of moved together. To begin with, they spread out, make sure they had a lot of ground covered, get a lot of info and audio cues to where the teams were going to come in. But how they kind of moved towards the end game, they prioritized a bit too hard on getting the kills. Obviously, this is important, but that ended up costing them a lot of players that they couldn't get into the end zone with a lot of guys alive. But they got, they got a lot of kills. They're looking here at 11 points, which is kind of 3 teams with 11 points. So going forward, this is going to be a great start for them.
Also, let's take a quick glance back at the start of this thing. We had 3 teams land on military.
Yeah.
We haven't seen more than one the entire tournament so far.
Sure.
And it was interesting because what happened is everybody jumped out and we saw Cloud9 and Entis Force recognize each other in the air, and they took 2 very different strategies. They both wanted Novo, I think. Cloud9 said, well, let's just go to trash, and they hard dropped. Entis deployed their captain right away. He pulled the trigger on the parachute, slow dropped, his boys went to trash, and once he verified Cloud9 is not going to Novo, they then transitioned over there. So 2 very different strategies to deal with an unexpected contest. The question is, what do those 2 teams do in the next game now that they know Novo's not as safe as they thought it was?
Then on top of that, there's actually 2 more teams doing another strategy to kind of get into the military system. We saw Armory Gaming cross the bridge extremely early, split out with 3 different combatants on the west side, looting them and then holding them down until the first circle popped to see if it was a west coast military zone, so they could take one of these compounds. And then we saw Africa Freaks Fatal come in with the boats, making sure they could sail in there and kind of occupying the northern side between all this. So from very early, we saw so many teams there occupying all of military.
Final thought, Toffees?
Strategic evolution has clearly come. The days of stand and bang are long gone. These guys were prepared for a military circle, each and every one of them, and they executed their transition. So if you're an old-fashioned stand and bang team, you better start evolving as well, because strategy is here and it's here to stay.
Let's see if our circle next up is a bit more lenient on some of these teams as we get into it. It's game number 2 here from the grand finals. We're going to head over to the commentary team here for all of the action on Air and Go.
Well, thank you so much, Analyst Desk. We had a crazy start. We had a military-based game. Analyst Desk was breaking down. There was just tons of actions, a 5-way fight. I mean, a crazy push to finish it off towards the building. What do we got in store this time around?
Well, I can't wait to see. I mean, that was a great way to kick things off here at the Face It Global Summit. I love that. I mean, it's such a fun thing. You and I love these crazy circles. Like, we talk about it. We're like, just go ahead and just send it somewhere hard shifting for us. I want to see how these teams react and adapt to that, because that's the true test for these teams in PUBG. How can you react to the most difficult situations you're faced with?
I mean, yeah, sure, there's like the whole, like, oh, well, whenever it goes center, it's just easy rotations for everybody. I want to see the best of the best and how they adapt into it. That's really what defines PUBG. It is such a strategy game. You have to outthink your opponents. There's so many mind games, and that last round was just such a perfect showcase for it. So, here we go. Nothing too terribly nuts that we can see going on here. Gonna keep an eye on where Cloud9 potentially goes, since we know that 17 Gaming is kind of starting to take a little bit more and more control over pachinki as well as Liquid. They kind of separated out. No real danger into that.
Yeah, interesting to see AG dropping out fairly early here. I'm curious to see where they want to land. It looks like they might be going for some of those four-house crossroads. What?
Pretty Curdy and DMG are right next to each other. Whoa. This is kind of an extenuation of where Shoot to Kill always drops, and DMG actually does land first, so that's going to become its own little 1v1, depending on if somebody grabs a vehicle and just runs away from it.
And here we go, Arrow Wolves 1. They've been kicked out of North George because VSG is going up there, so now they're forced to land Razak with C9 here.
I love it. There you go, Lobes. Just go ahead and catch a ride over with the 4AM guys. Unofficial new team member Lobes here. You're going to get brought right over next to ZG. Can he make the switch over? Nope. That's going to be Lobes going down, and then the punches to the face. So, Lobes, it was a valiant attempt, but that's all she can do.
It's cheeky. It's cute. But here we go. Okay, another hard shifted circle down to the southwest corner. Military base still in play. Not as likely this time, but it could still happen, Matchroom.
Good game for Windstrike, Tempo Storm. Those guys are going to get a good chance to separate out, get their loot built up. A Freak's also in a good spot. OP Rangers now got complete and utter control over towards military, so they can just loot towards their heart's content. And this is the most polite pachinki game I think that I have seen in quite a while. My pachinki games never go like that. When I land there, it's a bloodbath off the get-go. These two guys are like, hey, how you doing? You loot over there, I'll loot over here, and then you go left and I'll go right.
Yeah, I think on the big stage here, both teams not wanting to make any mistakes early on. They want to get into these late game situations with as many members up as possible. You can see here the OP Gaming Rangers, 3 of them are looting here in military base. Mental has gone out way ahead. He has moved over to Ferry Pier because of Freaks Fatal. You can see them. They're in the southern middle area of the main continent. So Mental doing the early scouting role here for OP Gaming Rangers, making sure they can get across that western bridge safely.
Nobody over in Primorsk right now. Mental really the furthest southwest that we have at the time. I mean, there's Windstrike that's up above them to the north just a little bit, but they're just kind of looting around, hitting different trash buildings. Meanwhile, Envy over in Yasnaya, they've got their building towards themselves. That 1v1 that we were talking about beforehand that might go down with DMG and Pretty Curdy just separated out, so no big deals that were happening over there. Shoot to Kill, again, another long rotation that they're going to have to do. Envy, another long rotation for them as well. And we got AG just trying to drive by, and nice shots coming up from ZGG, going to take down DMGGGG.
Good shooting here. Han Boya trying to get across as well. You can see other members of 4AM here right behind. He gets out of the vehicle, trying to take some shots at Duckman. Nothing landing, though.
Now makes the switch back over towards General and does connect there, and that's going to be some nice shots coming out from Godby as you see the UAZ just slam into the tree off to the side. So 4AM coming out already at 3 kills, taking the shots in the air. It's a call of dominance.
My goodness, 4AM getting 2 early knocks and kills here onto AG. AG making another aggressive early rotation, but this time it doesn't pay off. They get caught in transition by 4AM.
It feels like a lot of our 17 fans yesterday might have switched sides over to the 4AM boat wagon, or the boat right now. So you can see that it's going to be Hexagon trying to run down backwards in reverse just to get away from Forever, and does manage to get back behind that hill.
I've got a big smile on my face. That is a great moment. Great driving there by Hexagon to avoid the fire there from the members of 4AM. He looks like like he's all right. He's going to get on his way. Does he have a tire out there?
Yeah,
he does. He have a tires out. Okay,
he lost the tire,
sense.
and that's what spun him out. So instead of trying to turn it back around, he's like just popped it in reverse and gunned it.
Great driving. That's a really important skill in PUBG. The most underrated thing that you need to be able to do well in PUBG is drive these vehicles.
Specifically if you lose a tire. That's the big thing that throws a lot of people is whenever you lose the tire and then try to correct back and drive the way you normally do, sometimes it's just, no, get away from the bullets. Doesn't matter if you see them coming at you, just get away from them.
Yeah, so Duckmans, he managed to pick up a couple of kills for AG last round on the NIP, sneakily in the background. So he's once again kind of on his own here for AG. We'll see if he can make some special things happen. AFF Lambu making his rotation across the fields in his motorcycle. You can see Style as well, driving around, trying to find some information, see what the other teams are doing in this area.
Whenever you start to see like different vehicles from the same squad drive around inside those fields, it's all information gathering. So if anybody takes any shots, they're kind of bait to a certain degree. So you can see Windstrike now posted up. OP Rangers now made their crossover. Really just one member still back towards military base. I almost feel like he's going to stay back there and be the linchpin. And oh, Duckman's last member from AG is just watching Airwolf 1 drive around. Does he fancy this? I think that he might actually go for it. He's contemplating it. He wants to get into a trap position. I don't know if they saw him.
This guy's a one-man wrecking crew. If anybody can do this right now, it is him. He hears RDK moving along here. I don't think AW has any idea that Duckmans is down there, but RDK is moving over. Okay, here he goes. He's already got 2 knocks. Are you kidding me?
Look at this. He wants to go for this. He knows that if he gets a kill or 2, it's better than going out early. The grenades are going to bounce over and through, and is it going to connect? That's 1 point over to him. Katao is already really low. RDK actually took a lot of damage out as well. So we've got Icky and RDK still up, but I don't think that Icky is around this right now. So also a little interesting fight happening over towards the south of Pachinki as we have 17 and Team Liquid finally bumping into each other as they're trying to extricate themselves from Pachinki.
Yeah, a nice grenade coming from Monkey King there to make Ibiza back off here. They did get the knock onto Shox, but the revive does come down. YY able to get Shox back up and going. Show there over on the right-hand flank here. The other members of Team Liquid rolling up on top of the hill, trying to support Ibiza. They've got a pretty decent angle here on each other, so we'll see how this plays out.
You can see Samty way up towards the top of the screen trying to rotate around, make it back over to the rest of the Team Liquid. They know that this is going to be a 4v1, so they want to get all their members in position, but it's going to be Ibiza that gets spotted out. That's going to be a nice shot coming out from YY, just going to go ahead and take him down there. Going for the flush as well. Smoke's going to roll back down the hill and not provide a lot of cover. That's going to be another shot following up by Show. Gets that one picked up nice and clean, and looks like Team Liquid starting to have second thoughts about this fight, looking back towards their vehicles.
Yeah, at this point, it's time to get out. Ibiza tried to make something happen there, but a really nice flank there by YY and Show to catch Ibiza in transition as he tried to back off. Insight here, taking some shots at 4AM's captain. Grenades coming in now.
Insight going for the long grenade. Can it connect with anything? It's going to land right back over behind Captain. Godby runs right over it and does get dropped. Insight's trying to hold the angle, but look on the mini-map. It's a 3-point flank coming in onto 4AM right now. They are in the middle of a trap, but Insight does not have the angles. 4AM is just throwing grenade after grenade back over towards Insight. White Kikamukau is trying to go for a reposition. Insight is the point man, and he is feeling that pressure. But Jokesy, if he comes up back behind this, he could spot him out. But no, it's going to be ZGG that spots out Jokesy first. Now we got White Kikamukau, Rona trying to get the flank, trying to get the damage off on the other side of it, but 4AM is just too strong. They just spot out every reposition coming out from Incognito. Finally, we do see White Kikamukau get the down onto Forever.
We'll see if this is the go for Incognito. They're pushing in here. 4AM trying to flank out. They do get the flush onto Jokesy. Forever still knocked here. White Kikamukau trying to get his flush of his own. He does confirm the kill onto that member. It is Forever going down here for 4AM. A 3v3 left. They did get the res onto Godby. So Captain, he's got his eyes on the Insight. Insight very, very low, but he's behind the grass, so Captain can't quite find the angle.
Knows where he is, sees a little bit of movement on it, trying to spot it out, seeing if he can get any angle. But Waikakamukau, the rest of Incognito now starting to regroup, hop into their vehicles. Damage is done. Everybody's trying to get away from these early fights. Whenever it starts going bad and you know you lose that member, you just know that you don't have the advantage in the fight anymore. Captain's unrelenting on it, trying to get some more damage onto Waikakamukau, but he's going to make it back behind those trees and make it to safety.
Yeah, it looks like this battle is over. So let's go check in with our match reporters. They've got some information for us on some of the other rotations happening.
Yeah, guys, while that was all going on, there was a bit chaotic in the north. Georgia Polways coming out, NIP catching Envy with one. It was a point where NIP, VSG, and Envy were all in the exact same spot around Hospital. MBS managed to catch a frag there. Meanwhile, Entus have gone for a real deep south swing and sort of banking on that Sosnovka Island move.
And something to touch on that, you see one of OP Rangers on the south side of the military island. He will see Entus and might cause a bridge camp.
Well, they're already in position. You can see the circle swing. Back to you, boys.
Thank you so much, D-Man and Scoom, giving us a breakdown on all the action we just missed out on while we were watching that fight there. But you can see with the repositions coming into play, OP Rangers now making their way back over, firm regrooting. So now we just have a little bit of a reposition coming out from Force as well.
Yeah, we can see 9. They're looking at AW here up on the hills. AW able to weather the Duckman storm in the background of all this going on. Duckman's is still alive, though, so we'll see what happens. Windstrike, they had a bit of a vehicle accident there. They are able to get their member back up. You can see the rotations happening here. OP Rangers making their way over towards Corey. Incognito, after that battle with 4AM, trying to lick their wounds, make their way through the fields of Freaka Freaks Fatal just to the north of them.
Oh, Insight's trying to spot out some type of information, but that's going to be Windstrike taking a couple of shots back over towards him. Going to have to go for a little bit of a reload. We do have a lot of planes. We kind of broke down this terrain if you were watching the games that happened yesterday, but I gotta say it's gonna be kind of rough. There's a lot of flatlands, a lot of hay bales, a lot of fields in play. So that's why you're seeing a lot of teams just opt towards these hills just around the quarry area.
Yeah, like almost half of this circle is fields.
Yeah.
It's just so much flat area that does not provide a lot of cover. Some soft cover. Oh, shots though, getting the rip onto Insight here. He is not able to quite finish the kill yet. He does manage to crawl into the building. Ronan and Waikakamukau trying to get over to get some assistance.
I just feel bad for Insight at this point. He just wants to make it to somewhere safe, and everywhere he goes, there's just somebody that's taking a couple of shots back over towards him. 17, I really like this position. We were talking about the fields. It has such great sight lines over those fields, so you can catch people as they're trying to rotate through. And look, 17 very aware of where this res could be happening at and keeps repositioning to try to take shots in through the windows. On the other side of this, we got 4AM that's just kind of out inside of a breakable shack. I don't think you want to hang out there, ZGG. That's not the safest place to be.
Yeah, Show trying to find an angle here onto ZG. ZG parks the vehicle behind the hill. Ooh,
look
showing his head a little bit. Show, though, doesn't opt to take the shot.
Look at the awareness and knows that 17's over there, had a couple of shots come towards him, so repositions his vehicle down in that little bit of a divot to try to protect it. But we've got a Freaka Freaks Fatal walking back up right over here next to Captain. Style does go down inside of that exchange. Captain's going to make it back over there as well to try to get into a little bit more cover.
Yeah, that's a big early loss for a Freaka Freaks Fatal. Style, the shot caller, the in-game leader, the clutch master from game number 1 for a Freaka Freaks Fatal. So they are going to move apart a little bit. Bit of a misstep there.
He's in a pretty rough spot right now. He's got 2 members of a Freaka Freaks Fatal right next to him. A little bit of a flank position could be coming in from Lambo. Godby was taking a couple of shots towards Shadow, and that information's been fed over. Yeah, look, Lambo's already going for the flank onto it, trying to look back down the hillside, gonna spot him out. Godby's gonna get dropped inside that. That should be an easy flush, as well as nobody else from 4AM can even defend that.
Yeah, great calls there by the Freaka Freaks Fatal to get Lambo in that position. He's doing a really good job today being their flank man. NN typically their damage dealer, Shadow kind of their rear guard player. Oftentimes for a Freaka Freaks Fatal, if they lose 3 members, the last one up is almost always Shadow.
I don't know if I like what 4AM did there. I'm pretty big fans of the team and the way that they play, but running that split in that position this early in the game makes you hyper vulnerable to these 4-man pushes on different angles, because you can see now that they know that Captain is the one that got the down on one of their team members. We've got Rafi way out over here looking at an M249 for himself outside in the blue, but you can see now, look, Freaka Freaks now pushing over towards Captain. They know that they have control over that area, but we've got D-Man and Scoom that are going to give us a breakdown of what's all happening.
Yeah, while that's all happening, NIP have basically got the freedom in the north right now. They've got into the compound that they absolutely love. Miraku's in there. Meanwhile, Cloud9, by the way, they have no vehicles. They've been on foot the whole time coming out of their area. So this circle shift pulling away from them is going to be very harsh to see what they can do. But now it looks like the chaos is about to ensue. Let's get straight back to you guys.
Thank you so much, and here we go. We got 17 now looking back over towards Force as they're going for a rotation. Shoot to kill, also just gunning it straight through the middle of everyone. No fear, and it looks like they're going to be running right up into VSG. This is a firm, strong breach, but a lot of damage has been done in the rotation. One member of Shoot to Kill is already down. Second one already drops as well. Really, it's just Alo and Uncivil trying to fight their way out of this, but they're already taking so much damage.
Yeah, and now there's some other teams getting in on this fight. Dangche does get knocked, but that will be STK eliminated in 16th place. Great defense here from VSG. There were some shots from Team Liquid that were raining down onto this compound as well, so forcing Star-Lord to relocate here. He knows he's no longer safe out in the open because Team Liquid has that hill over to the east.
We talk about the merits of reposition. Duckman's, dude, he is a solo wrecking force for Armory Gaming. Keep in mind, we talk about like mental awareness and just having the strength and the wherewithal to handle bad situations. This guy is by himself netting point after point for his team. No fear in his eyes. A lot of times that solo's just like, oh, I don't want to go after him, but looks like he might be finally done. The hero is taken down. Armory Gaming is eliminated.
This guy, Duckman, is unbelievable. I cannot believe he's by himself half the time, and he's still getting kills and points for his team. He may actually be one of the top 10 best players we have here in the tournament.
Think about how much bravery it takes to be playing against the best teams in the world, be a solo, see squads moving all around you and being like, nah, it's okay, I can go kill that one. I know I can at least get a point out of this in the exchange. And he walks away. He gets 3 points out of this whole game that should have just been near on nothing. His team was near on destroyed at the start.
Yeah, I mean, a one-man wrecking crew for sure. Can't wait to see what else he has for us coming up in this tournament. If AG can stick together, get some members alive in the end, we've seen them do some special things. The circle is closing. C9.
4 a.m. 4 a.m. They're just gunning it through. This did not work for Shoot to Kill a second ago. They've got the motorcycle, and look at how many teams are now looking back over towards 4 a.m. They're trying to cut a path right through, and I think that they're finding the one clear way that they can make it through this. Only 2 more teams that they really have to worry about. It's going to be OP Rangers. Do they get the shots off onto it? They're going to crest back down behind these trees, and they are going to make it into Quarry? You've got to be kidding me.
My goodness, some fantastic driving here from 4AM. They keep getting shot at. More and more teams are finding them. Finally, they're setting up on this mountain. Hopefully, I think they're going to be able to get off.
No.
Oh, no, but G's getting some nice shots.
Finally, they get a little bit more damage, but they still make it up the hillside. They haven't even stopped. Finally, they get out. The captain gets dropped by Star-Lord. After all of that, they finally have one member go down and does get flushed. ZGG's in a lot of trouble. He's just bouncing around. After all the different locations they drove through, he's just got himself a tree for safety. But look, Liquid knows they're going for the reposition back behind him. I gotta say, ZGG, it's just a matter of time. You've got VSS on one side, or VSG, sorry, not a VSS.
That's a gun.
That's a gun, that's not a team.
It's my favorite gun.
I like the gun. I would never call it my favorite gun. It's a tricksy gun.
Yeah, Team Liquid in trouble here, though, because the OP Gaming Rangers have opted to try to push in onto this fight as well. They're coming up on the sides of them from the south. VSG just trying to find any shots they can onto ZG. ZG desperately smoking, trying to find a safe location to get to anywhere near Quarry. This is C9. They're way up on the northeastern edge. Oh, no, Katao.
Yeah,
oh, no.
A lot of damage coming out from K-Mine, but does not get the down off of it. You can see the instant switch to grenades on both sides. They're like, okay, tree battle going on, so you just try to get the curve back over 4. Nice reposition coming out, trying to get the down onto it, but it's K-Mine out inside the blue, and it's a lot of bullets coming his way. He's having to hop from tree to tree. Profi's trying to go for a reposition angle onto it, but on the other side of this, we've got OP Rangers taking a couple of shots back over towards Team Liquid, almost defending 4AM's last member sitting up there because they can't make the push up to kill him.
Yeah, OP Gaming Rangers, they wanted to reposition, get a little more central circle here, and on top of that, you know, they were following Team Liquid. They probably saw them trying to catch up to the last member of 4AM. Show here trying to land some shots on the force, and he does get the knock on a Kale. My goodness, what some... Oh, Monkey King got that, though.
I love this. That's what you do. If you see somebody making their way for the vehicle, take them out the moment they get in the seat. You can see Force was running over their motorcycle. It's like, we have to protect it as the tires go down, and just feels bad. Now we've got Force caught off to the side of it, and 17 Gaming very aware of where they're at. Going for the reposition, and Profi, we saw him pick up this gun a second ago. If you want to go for a close range fight, this is the weapon to do it with. Going for a peek back and forth around as the blue zone is coming in. RDK steps over and does go down, but it does not matter as Aerowolf 1 is going to follow it up and take down Cloud9.
Yeah, nice job there by Aerowolves defending that push from C9. The circle is coming onto them, though. It looks like they will lose that member to the circle that got knocked by C9. Sharky here looking down on Incognito. They take a stand. Oh, Songjang gets the rip on the show, trying to get it on the Monkey King as well, and that's 2 knocks for Songjang.
That was a nice peek back and forth along that tree, and YY's wanting to get some vengeance back over towards it. taking a couple of shots, but no, it's going to be Yak that pops off and gets them taken down. Only now Shock's off way away from the rest of his team. The last member standing, he is right on the edge of the circle though, so if he wants to, he doesn't have to take this fight. Intis Force sitting up on 3 members still. He doesn't even care. He wants to go for it. It's a matter of pride at this point for him. He at least wants to take one of them down.
Yak trying to find the angle through there. He does land one hit, knowing that Shox has to reposition up the hill here because of the circle closing in behind him. The other members of Entis Force being pushed by the circle in the back as well. You can see Indigo's got that bolt action sniper. Sungjang switching over. Okay, Maluk taking some shots at a Freak of Freaks Fatal. They're getting forced into the zone by the circle. Some nice shots coming in, and that is a knock onto Shadow by Sharky.
Shadow just gets dropped off to the side of it, but it's going to be right in that little dip, so they should be able to get the res off onto this new circle. Does go back over towards Corey, so we have Team Liquid that's up towards the top of it. VSGs, they've got a nice position to play around. Envy's at the high ground of Corey, whereas we have OP Rangers back along the other wall for it. NIP very quietly sneaking their way into a nice position right along the side over there. They should be in a good spot. Tempo Storm right above Windstrike as well. Really, Windstrike has to be careful as they might end up getting gate kept, as a lot of teams are already on the move.
Yeah, absolutely. Windstrike looking to make a rotation more northerly, where Tempo Storm is also kind of doing the same thing. Tempo Storm looks like they want to put some pressure onto a Freak of Freaks Fatal. They did manage to get the revive onto Shadow, despite that knock onto him. You can see Windstrike looking to come up behind them. Pat Caps, though, getting a headshot onto Hulk. Envy is set up on the north side of the quarry.
But look at this cross. Look at this cross. We've got a Freak of Freaks that are making their way back down the hillside. Tempo Storm got that knock a second ago. They're unrelenting in their push, where they're going to follow up right back behind it. And there's Aerowolf 1 that's posted up, just kind of hiding out with the last remnants of their team. Here we go. We've got a little bit of a back and forth as Envy is still looking over towards NIP as well.
Yeah, Envy here putting some nice shots, using that height advantage they have very well. Grenade coming in here. Lambu, is it going to bounce far enough? Not the first one, not quite. Second one does do a little bit of damage. Lambu trying to dance around, but he gets headshot by Juanita of all people.
That is just a rough position for a Freak of Freaks Fatal to have to move down into Team Liquid, in a lot of trouble as ZGG is just somehow still alive. And then goes, no, this is my home. You don't get to take it from me. Gotta go ahead and connect with that and move them up to 5 kills.
What is with these solo players absolutely popping off here today? What exciting play from them. Oh, Venerated gets the knock on the Indigo.
Force was trying to push right up back behind Envy, and you can see Venerated just holding this angle. A nice little dip that he can play along. He's going to go for a reposition as he knows the grenades are going to start coming through. It's really neat to play along these cliffs or these hillsides if you can get the angles for it, because it kind of makes it to where the grenades can't matter as much. They'll roll down the hill back behind you. So nice repositioning coming out, as Force now looks like they're going to go for the low ground reposition out around Envy. So here you go. You can see that beautiful grenade just popping right up next to it. Going to get the down onto one and then follow it back up, and that's going to be the second Liquid player going down.
Yeah, Pat Caps here doing a great job defending Entis Force. Sungjang, the last member standing here for them, trying to find a way into this circle, but he's got to go through 3 members of Envy. Can he clutch another fight here for Entis Force?
Envy was turned around on the other angle. Finally, the shots do come out from Force, and that's going to give away the position. Venerated's just holding the angle. A lot of damage coming through, and it's going to be the blue that takes down OG and Entis Force.
They go down in 9th place, just outside of the points.
Vard.
Envy getting shot at from long range by Vard, doing a lot of damage here. Venerated almost going down. It looks like they might be able to secure that kill. Oh, can't quite get it.
We got OP Rangers now in a little bit of a skirmish with Tempo Storm on the other side. We still have VSG that's holding down those buildings right in the middle. You can see that 4AM ZGG still alive and just holding that angle. Tempo Storm doesn't have a clear path back down this hillside. OP Rangers looking back over towards them, as well as NIP and VSG. So they've got a lot of work cut out for them, but Windstrike's now opting to move along a similar path, and we have seen with Tempo Storm, not necessarily the way you want to go right now.
The Korean teams absolutely control the eastern side of the circle. Windstrike now getting torn apart by the OP Gaming Rangers. Juanita, the sniper for VSG. This is the perfect position for him. He is absolutely tearing people apart. Gets another knock on Nanuki. Babo and the other members of OP Gaming Rangers looking to push in on this fight. They don't want to let their former other Korean team get all the kills.
What's also a very dangerous position that they're around right now. They've kind of heard what's been going on with Liquid and 4AM and all the fights, so they're going to have to go around and cross on the other side of this. They don't really want to make their way right up along those hillsides, so that's why they're going from building building to building, being very, very cautious. You can see like there's motorcycles and things just scattered everywhere, so they know that people are around. But look at this. 8 kills for 4 AM right now, and OP Ranger is going to continue that torrent of bullets that they are just throwing towards Winstrike.
Yeah, this is really nice stuff we're seeing from the OP Gaming Rangers here. They've got Samty in this behind one of these shacks over on their left. Not sure if they know he's there yet or not. ZG still in his position where he got those 2 huge grenade kills on the Team Liquid. Holding on to this, Star-Lord's got that M24. Now, Star-Lord is one of the best bolt-action snipers in the world. This guy is an absolute god with this thing.
I love how he went for the reposition, trying to play along where the car is at, still using the vehicles for cover. It's going to be Zampa just turning around, taking the shots back over towards Winstrike, getting themselves a kill. Tempo Storm sitting at 8 kills right now as well, so while they do have a lot of damage done to him, going to get good placement based off of that. But I mean, 4AM has done such a good job in surviving as well. Can we see Liquid do a similar thing? Can they net a lot of kills with their solo? Because that's kind of the telling factor right now. These solos just don't care.
Oh no, Mental has no idea Samty is there. That will be the knock and the confirmed kill onto him. Mental just never looked down to see him. A nice play there by Samty to pick up a point for his team.
Samty's holding that angle, but now OP Rangers aware that somebody's back behind him. The spray comes out. Samty does manage to make it right up next to the hill, but here's the problem. The grenades are starting to roll out. One bounces over onto his head. That one looks like it could be pretty good, but no, it's just going to take most of the brunt of the damage along the building there. So now here comes the creep up on top of this. The blue's going to come in. It's going to tick for a ton, and that's going to be Liquid getting eliminated.
Yeah, smart play there by Samty. Those grenades were completely preventing him from getting up the hill. The circle is encroaching on him. Nothing he can do there. In the meantime, NBS has taken Zampa out, so that'll be Tempo Storm down in 6th place, but VSG continuing to control the middle of the circle, and it shifts hard to the west.
VSG has some circle love right now, to say the least. OP Rangers making their way over there next to ZGG. They might want to keep an eye out. I don't know if you don't want to go around that area right now. But OP Rangers caught up, taking some shots over towards Venerated right now. You got to be very cautious. You can see ZGG right down below him, but this is going to stall both teams. VSG has so much control over this circle. Between them and NIP not having to move, this is going to be so hard for Envy and OP Rangers to make their way down this hill.
Yeah, exactly correct. There just isn't a lot of cover for them to utilize when they come down that hill. Juanita trying to get some shots onto the OP Gaming Rangers. Nothing landing here, and there's still ZG just hiding. This guy is hanging out. We'll see what he's got going.
Next to him as well. You've got to be kidding me. There's going to be a crate landing right up on top of him. OP Rangers taking the shots back over towards, but it's going to be Danjay back over for VSG that hits the shots over onto him. So now that's going to stall down OP Rangers for just a second. You can see the blue is now coming in. Nobody towards the top wants to move, but Star-Lord nails one hell of a headshot onto Moody.
My goodness, Star-Lord, I love to see him using these bolt-action snipers again. This guy can really make things happen with that gun. The OP Rangers, though, will end up getting the kill onto 4AM, but they get knocked by VSG. Juanita landing some shots onto Babo.
It took a lot of time, though, is the factor with it. OP Rangers has had to contest with them for a long time. Looks like they've opted into making their way up and forward. Wants to go after Envy. Remember, these guys have been taking shots back and forth with each other for a while. Envy has a little bit of a tree line that they can play just off to the side, but it's going to be just a run and jump down that hillside, and everybody knows when you land for just a second, you sit there, so you got to be very cautious as both these teams make their way forward. Envy seem to be firmly aware. You can see the grenade now coming through. Where's the trap going to come through? And the blue takes down Tamaria. That's no good. Now it's just DG walking right up into 3. Going to have to throw out the smoke, see if he can get himself a little bit more cover. But is DG going to be enough of a distraction that's going to allow VSG or NIP to take any shots up into this? Envy doesn't want to have anything to do with this fight. Instead, they're just going to go around it, out the other side of it, and that's just going to force Juanita to take a lot of shots back over towards DG. And we talked about it. Once you hit that ground, you just stick there for a second, and man, VSG just mopped that one up.
Yep, DG, the last member alive there for OP Gaming Rangers, so they go down in 4th place. We're down to 3 teams. Envy, NIP, and VSG. VSG controls the compound. The circle has continued to stay with them. It's going to be difficult for NIP here to come up into this if the circle continues to keep shifting east.
Look at this. Star-Lord just walks out over to this crate, firmly confident that his team will have his back. Everybody else is just cowering from the weathering amount of bullets that VSG has been putting out. Finally, Moody gets the necessary down so that way they can potentially move through this, but it's just going to be a drop back over there. Should be an easy res. How do we see a reposition from Envy go? You can see there's no real easy path for them out of this. NIP on one side, they've got VSG on the other. The only real hope is maybe NIP distracts them for just a second to allow Envy to make their way down this hill.
Yeah, and Envy already starting to smoke up a little bit. They want to find a way into this circle if they can. They're in a bit of a battle here with Envy, but the Star-Lord once again landing a nice shot with that bolt-action sniper, looking for another kill onto the team Envy.
I think he caught them as he was jumping down the hillside in air. So, Moody, this is going to be a rough go for you, man. You got to take your pick. Which way are you going to feed that 1 point over? Jumps back down, and you can see the spray just comes through from 2 different angles, and it's going to be Star-Lord stacking up another one, as I believe we see VSG making their way up to 10 kills.
VSG looking to close this one out. It is a 4-on-2. 4 kills already for NIP. They're doing a nice job holding this western edge of the circle, but they are in an incredibly difficult position here. They're going to wait for this next circle. They don't have to show themselves here quite yet. There's just enough of a hill in front of them that VSG doesn't have the greatest of angles. VSG very aware of what is going on. Star-Lord, as per usual, will be the lead man for VSG in this fight.
Everybody does need to make their way forward towards where the center of the circle is going to collapse down to. You can see we've got VSG already making that move, finally leaving their buildings, leaving the safety, but they're bouncing from rock to rock. Bard gets a lot of damage back over towards Star-Lord. Got to be a little bit cautious as he goes for the peek over to it, but Bard actually got the worst end of that deal. NBS is hoping that maybe this grenade will bounce right at Star-Lord's feet, and it's going to be right back behind him, and it does connect. That's going to be a nice down onto it, but it's not going to be enough as Bard went down on one exchange. So now it's NBS looking at 3 different members of VSG just walking forward. Grenades are starting to rain down next to him. He's having to dance around explosion after explosion. NBS takes a couple of headshots. There's really nowhere for him to go. He's just trying to survive for as long as he can. Get some more information. Maybe just buy this out. Buy a little bit more space. He is in a 2v1 at the time. Can he get anything else out of this? As Juanita is going to go for a res. Smokes are starting to come out from NBS. What does he have left in the tank? The blue is coming down for him. Hulk's got the angle, has a pretty good idea on where he's at. You can see NBS is playing around that bush. NBS gets a lot of damage back over towards Hulk. Hulk's trying to find the angle for it. NBS is just trying to turn this one around with everything that he's got. He's got the smokes off to one side, providing him a little bit of cover, a little bit of maneuverability, but the res did come back. VSG is 3-man strong, and NBS wants to go for this push. The grenade looks like it's going to land a little bit to the right. How much more smokes does he have? How much more time can he buy?
He's trying to do everything he can, but VSG completely throws the window, but he gets the knock onto Hulk. He's going to try to confirm the kill. Can't quite do it. Some damage coming through here. He's taking a lot. He does confirm the kill on Hulk. 20 on his left flank, and they'll do it. VSG takes game number 2.
Nice job from VSG as they walk away with 12 kills. Man, they were just like refereeing every single fight around them for so long.
I like the way you put that. They refereed it. They controlled so much territory with those buildings. Now, they did get a little lucky with those circles. If that circle leaves those buildings...
A little lucky. I want to say maybe that's a lot lucky then.
Yeah, a lot lucky at the end there. Because if they have to leave that compound, especially if that circle shifts west, there's not a lot of cover out there. As you can see, because the member NBS of NIP, he was making that work. He was throwing grenades. He was able to catch VSG out in transition in the open and almost pulled off the improbable.
Well, what gets me is people always talk about like circle luck, okay? It's actually quite difficult on a regular basis to hold down a complex for that long. I mean, you had to see they had to keep so much control around the territory with them. They actually had a couple of people that crashed on them. I think it was shoot to kill very early in the game, realized the strength of that complex. They've had to defend it multiple times. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to be able to sit here for as long as I want and everyone's going to die around me. It's not quite that easy when you get to this level of play.
Yeah, exactly correct. And VSG, this is a perfect compound for them because of the incredible amount of sight they have out of it. This is a really, really strong sniping team. Juanita, a very, very good sniper in his own right with those DMRs. Mm-hmm. And Star-Lord, you saw what he could do with those bolt actions before, and I'm glad he's brought it back again.
Well, naturally, coming in second place right next to them is going to be NIP. No surprise, they were kind of hanging out next to them the entirety of that fight. So back behind that, we got Envy that came in third place. OP Rangers coming out in fourth, and 4 AM with ZGG, man. ZGG lived for so long that game.
He really tried as best he could. But guys, we do have to go to another short commercial break. We'll have an interview with Frey when we come back. Please stay tuned.
Hey, James, have you seen my keyboard anywhere? I'm trying to log on to Faceit so I can get my drops tomorrow, but it's missing. No? Well, I mean, all right, I'll check the desk.
Welcome back to the Faceit Global Summit, where I have managed to grab Star-Lord from the winning side, VSG. So I just want to talk about that game. That was phenomenal. You took down the first squad in Shoot to Kill. Can you walk me through that? Did this give you confidence going forward?
슈트킬 팀을 완전히 없애버리면서 시작을 했는데 이게 이번 매치의 승리에 어떤 영향을 줬나요?
우선 기세도 도움이 되었었고 두 번째로는 이제 저희 파밍량이 좀 많이 부족했는데 그 파밍량 많이 충족해줄 수 있었어요. 그게 가장 도움이 되었던 것 같아요.
The battle with the shooter kill, it boosts us so much so that we could loot a lot from them, so that matters a lot.
Well, that final fight as well, the final circle with Envy and NIP in there. Why did you guys choose to go for Envy first? Because they had the high ground there. What was the thought process behind that?
자, 마지막 서클에서 엠비어스 팀과 NIP 중에서 교전할 상대를 고를 수 있었는데 엠비어스 먼저 상대로 고른 이유는 무엇인가요?
우선 NBA 같은 경우는 숫자 체킹이 거의 다 되졌어요. NIP도 물론이고, 근데 이제 어디까지나 NIP가 인서클이었고 이제 NV 같은 경우는 들어와야 되는 입장이니까 우선 편안하게 지켜볼 수 있었던 것 같아요.
So basically, we knew which player and how many players were there, and MVS was out of the circle, and NIP was already in the circle, so we took the easy one.
Well, NIP, MBS gave you a run for your money, it's fair to say, at the end point there. Were you ever worried that MBS might be able to take down all four players? Were you ever worried that MBS from NIP might be able to take down all four of VSG?
이렇게 싸울 때 MVS가 NIP랑 VSG까지 모든 플레이를 잡을 거라는 걱정을 하지 않았나요?
딱히 크게 걱정은 안 하고 있었던 게 NIP가 소극적으로 게임 할 걸 알고 있었어요. 그래가지고 오히려 저희는 더 편안하게 팀원도 누군가가 NIP를 마킹하고 있었기 때문에 크게 영향은 없었던 것 같아요.
So we were all marking all the individual players from the MVS, so it didn't matter us like that a lot.
Thank you very much, guys, for that. Congratulations again on that fantastic win. Let's head back over to the desk to break that one down.
My boys, VSG get themselves a chicken dinner here in game number 2. The circles came to them, but they made use of it all the same. Get on the bike!
Oh, no.
As we check a look at the highlights here. Poor Lobes. Unfortunate timing and unfortunate circumstances for him as he gets driven to his ultimate demise.
And all that's left is for 4AM to peel the banana, squash him, and leave him there in the dirt. Not much you can do. He had no other option. It was get run over or just get shot. So what can you do? Lots of fun, though.
And 4AM getting a lot of kills here in the beginning. There's so much to start with here, with ZG taking another down, and they actually managed to get 4 kills, and I think it was the force from 4 first kills.
Yeah, 4AM this was just a beautiful series of plays right out of the gate. They just put tons of work in, and even threw in a little shout out to their fans as they went through the process. Duckmans has been playing out of his mind, featured player, always impressive to see, and I think really the secret to success for Armory Gaming.
Great nib there to be able to not only finished off the guy at the back, but almost finished the guy at the front there with that double position knock. And you see as well, 17 Gaming racking up some kills too.
I really love that, but they are fighting in Pochinki, then they go onto the Pochinki hill to keep fighting. It's not like we're going onto the scouting spots and they just keep going at each other. And this is going to cost them a little bit. I mean, we expect a lot from Liquid in 17 from coming out from here after their amazing performance in the group stages. But them being in Pochinki together is costing them not to be able to rotate early, as we usually see, especially Liquid do.
Now we got K-Mine with, I think, what might have been one of the easiest kills in the tournament so far. He just had to sit and wait. Got some nice pickoffs, but then as the teams start to dwindle, we start to see the danger of Quarry, man. It becomes a very tough place to fight, north to south, a lot of movement, and once that circle sort of went in the middle of the field, it was a lot of these teams realized they weren't far from dying. But right here, this grenade was absolutely bananas. He knows where there's a divot there. He knows it's a popular spot to be, and he just perfectly executed those tosses.
Talk about nade meta here. I'm really sad for Shoot to Kill though, because they tried to breach this compound where VSG won from that. If they managed to get a better kind of position and some frags out of that, they would definitely had a better spot than they did in this game.
I also feel bad for them because VSG was basically like they were the Uber Eats of ammunition for them, right? They were like, man, we're really low on resources. Should we leave? SDK said, nah, you can stay. Let's bring you some nades and whatever else you need to win this thing.
Absolutely, and all of these highlights brought to you here by NVIDIA. Like shooting fish in a barrel here for VSG as well, as they took the right compound, and oh boy did they have a fun time when it came to taking all of those pot shots towards everybody coming down from Quarry. It was very simple for them.
I have got to say, Meredith Quill has to be incredibly excited because Star-Lord stepped up and was hitting some pretty incredible shots there. He was basically like sniping people as they dropped down from Quarry mid-air. So just beautiful execution. And really, the thing that stands out to VSG for me is they want headshots, especially Star-Lord. They don't go for body shots. They're not about spray control. When they shoot, it's left, right, because they want to pop you on the forehead or not at all.
Really like to see that. And the 5 kills as well coming out of Starler. Also in BS, they're being able to kind of manage that. I didn't expect them to kind of make it down to a 1v2 situation there in the end. So very well played by NBS, and also managing to get a flush in it. Backing him 5 kills for NIP.
Well, let's take a look at the points accrued here from this game, of course, as we do see up towards the top, the standout team. It's VSG, 22 points there for them as they were able to allow all of the kills to come to them in that compound. NIP with 12 points, 4 Angry Men with 11. OP Gaming Rangers is one of the teams that kind of sat very calmly, sat very comfortably, got themselves quite a few points as well at the base of Quarry, and we're not too worried about advancing into the later circles.
I mean, VS covers the field in red as they get the bread and they're going to take it to the next round. But teams like Tempo Storm, who went out pretty early, racked up actually very good kill counts. 8 kills. We saw 4AM also with 8 kills. So it's one of those things. When things go badly, rack up some kill counts, accept the fact that you'll get some bad placement, but hitting good numbers. Also, Team Envy's in 6 on this board, but they finished in 3rd, and I think they are sort of becoming this counter to Korean teams winning. Envy is going to be 2nd or 3rd, and is ready, like learning how to fight them. Maybe.
Yeah. You're hoping they're going to step and be the Korean Slayer, is what you're saying.
It'd be kind of interesting.
Well, Envy have been here in 2 games now, and there's been 2 different teams, so I definitely think them being that as constant they are, we're going to see a win from them overall.
Well, let's check it out right now. Overall leaderboard, Envy trying to climb up there. They do manage to tie into that 3rd position, but with less kills, obviously, because OP's amazing first game.
Sure, 2 games down so far. Who's that at the top? Toffees? Who's?
It's ya boys!
That's the one! But there's still a long way to go, of course. We have 10 more games here to see if they can hold on to that lead. It's very, very early days. Everyone's still very much in the running here. And I think these 2 games truly do exemplify the fact that we have an amazing 16 teams here. Literally anybody can take it at this point when it comes to the quality and skill that we've seen back-to-back with these games. Team Africa Freaks Fatal, of course, they're getting themselves the 1st place. In this one, really not having the easiest time. So depending on the time, depending on the day, anybody has got a great chance.
Definitely talks to how of their initial positions as well, because they came kind of slow into the circle as well, didn't kind of manage it all. But I definitely think we're going to see kind of more centering meta as we come along, because it's going to be so important being in those first circles, especially the second and the third. It's really important to get a good spot, because that's where you're going to be able to kind of fight from the middle and get on your foot game if you have to move away from your compound.
It's definitely worked out here for the first two winners, for sure. Let's take him with the X factor of the match here, brought to you, of course, with HyperX. And I'm not sure what it's going to be. Let's find out.
Either be the spray down to the... No?
Wait, what? Did we see this in the game?
No, I think it's some bonus footage here.
Bonus?
We get a little bit of practice
What's going
driving. Well, you know,
they're making sure that they can have their cars, so they're putting the car in here to this warehouse. So if they have to make a rotation later, then they're making sure that it's safe in here. So parking it and making sure everything is nice and clean.
He's having a lot of fun.
Froz trying to parallel park last week.
There is no parallel parking from Froz. There is only exploding in fire. Come on, let's be honest.
Or driving down your teammates, of course.
All that, yeah, probably.
Classics. Well, I mean, again, it was just fun to see, you know, I mean, we've all been through that. Backing into the garage houses to save your car. We should be a lot better than that, but every single one of us hits the side of the garage regularly.
Sure. But as you mentioned, there is strategy to the madness of going everywhere and trying to get the right position there as that's going on. Anything else really stand out from you guys here for game number 2? The floor is open for you.
I think that STK going out again at a really bad position is tough. C9 goes out in 14th, so North America, they're having a slow start. I said I worried that North America and Korea might struggle with the start here at Erangel instead of Miramar. North America is, but I guess Korea sort of maybe heard that and was like, haha, Toffees, we're just good at everything.
Avenger?
We can't really deny that shoot to kill being in Cerveny. There's no denial in that. If we have Southern circles, they're going to struggle. What I'm worried about is that if they completely bum out on the first day, they're not going to be able to come back in the second day at all.
Maybe. So from shoot to kill there, from sit for comfort, I think, here, as we do have Vertigear brought to you for the Face It Global Summit, as all of our players are sitting comfortable here for the entire tournament as a whole and are always ready to shoot to kill. We're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Face It Global Summit. When we return, we have 4 more matches for the day. 1 of Erangel, 3 of Miramar. Join us right after this, and don't spam, otherwise I'll break your keyboard.